What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Investing Bros. It is Friday, March 31st, which means it's the last day of the month, which also means it's the last day of quarter one. We're about to start off next week into quarter two. What is crypto and Bitcoin going to do? We will have to see. We have a couple things we're going to talk about today, but it's kind of a down day when it comes to news and it comes to charts. We'll take a look at a couple things here in just a minute, but it's the perfect day for our guest today. Crypto Archie is here, who is a specialist at finding small cap altcoins and mid cap altcoins and looking for the perfect places to enter them. You do not want to miss this episode because there will be a lot of wisdom thrown your way. Make sure you go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if this is your first time for more content just like this. Or we cover Bitcoin and crypto and stocks. We cover TA and news and sentiment and everything you need to know so that you can invest wisely for yourself. Go ahead and smash that like button. I'm also joined this morning by the man sitting across the desk from me, Mr. T-Shroom himself. How are you doing this morning, T-Shroom?
Oh, I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim.
That's good.
I'm doing much better than I deserve. And I am excited. I'm excited to hear from Piper because I have not actually seen what the PCE numbers are. So, yeah. But if you'll go to my screen really quickly, I will show you that Elon Musk, this is from Zero Hedge, a tweet, not a quote today. Elon Musk plans a China trip to meet the premier, a report is saying. So I'm sure there'll be flurries of speculation this morning. This is just fresh news just a minute ago that Elon's going over there to meet with the premier. So potentially some big, interesting breaking news that could come from that.
That could be pretty big. Yeah. What about you? We're also joined by Army Piper this morning. Piper, how are you doing?
I'm doing better than T-Shroom, Tim.
Ooh, better than he deserves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, we're also joined by Crypto Archie this morning, all the way from Dubai. How are you doing, my good friend that I just met today, Crypto Archie?
I'm doing very good. Thank you guys for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about low cap gems and the overall market and everything. So it's great to be here.
Yeah, I made a mistake, everybody. I forgot to enter a poll, a question of the day. So, T-Shirt, why don't you dazzle people real quick while I whip up a poll for our audience this morning?
Dazzle them? Okay. Yeah, well, in case you guys, you can go to my screen. In case you guys didn't know where Dubai is, I've got it pulled up here. So here's Africa. Okay, you're probably familiar with the continent. And here's China over here. Okay, so Dubai, if you zoom in, it's easy to find because you just zoom in on Saudi Arabia and then you go to Qatar and then you go over to Dubai. And as you can see, there's a lot of good traffic infrastructure leading right to Dubai, all over from this desert region and from this bay. And then right here, you've got this pretty big metropolitan, very high density commercial zone. Yeah. And then around it, you've got some good residential zoning. And then you've got this nice canal that goes right through there with these yacht ports. And then they've got these man-made islands that are really cool. This one was made in the attempt to kind of mimic the world. So this would be South America, nice. North America, Africa, and Asia. I mean, I don't know how well that turned out, to be honest, but it looks pretty cool. And then they've got a couple other ones that I think turned out a little better. But they have had some trouble with that from a geological standpoint. I think that maybe it wasn't all the way thought out, but they've got plenty of money over there to try to figure out how to fix that. Anyway, that's Dubai, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, in today's show, you guys are going to learn a lot about not only crypto and small cap altcoins. You'll also learn a lot about Dubai very soon. We have a lot of questions on those issues. I do want to start off, though, before we get going, we got to read the names in chat, and then we'll kind of explore this morning. We'll do our macroeconomic update. I'm going to look at one or two charts very quickly, and then we're going to jump in here with Crypto Archie and go deep into the small cap altcoins. I did miss who was the first commenter today, so let me know, T-Shirt, who was the first person to comment, because my poll, which is up right now, who would win in a boxing match, Elizabeth Warren or Nancy Pelosi? Cryptex was first. Wow. A moderator coming in first.
See, I'm hesitant to tell you, Tim, because when I look on my laptop, it says the wrong name. I don't know why.
Your laptop's just wrong. But shout out to Cryptex if that is true. We're also here
Yeah,
with
actually, it says a mellow fellow on my end, and he said "Happy Friday,
Oh.
bros."
Yeah, see,
Yep.
that's what it says on mine. A mellow fellow. So mine's
Oh.
right.
So now we might need a bot to find out
Yeah, we might
what's
need
going
to
on
do-
with us. Shout out to a mellow fellow who almost had his first comment stolen by CryptX, but Clutch Army Piper came in and saved the day. We're also joined by Out Bundles this morning, Alton Henderson, Joe Nickel, Justin Eubanks, Mike Play, Gia S, Jay Encar is here, Curtis Rorick, CBD Suddy. Good morning to you. Who else do we have here? Ninja Glock is here. We got Crux of Crypto with the wrench. I already shouted out CryptX, but I'll say it again. CryptX with the blue wrench. Yair Navarro is here. Crypto Trades is here saying hola. Bob is here. Who else do we got? Josh Denham, Alex Green, Daniel J is here, Dustin Singer, Grand Roofing Incorporated, Win Peoples. Got a lot of people in chat this morning. This is awesome. Elo Brown is here. Who else do we have? Oh, it just moved on me. Let's see. A couple more people and we'll get moving on here. Crimson Caravan Company is here. And let's go a couple more and then we'll call it here. Crypto Military Vet, Savada. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. I'm not going to connect this one either. Gerard. Oh, man, there's 3 in a row that you're going to get me. Adria Adenvish.
Nailed it.
Really? No.
I think you got it. That was good.
Yes. Can I have the applause for that one, please? Yes.
It's not applause if you have to ask for it, Tim.
Well, that's just how the world works. Jojo is here. Jinwoo. That's what I'm talking about. Jinwoo Jang. I don't know. I don't think that one's right. That's going to be the last one. Thank you to everybody who is watching here. We got 64 people in the live chat right now with only 34 likes. Definitely gotta get those likes just a little bit higher here as we get going in. If I didn't say your name, it's not because I don't love you. It's just time to go ahead and move on. Let's throw it over to Piper to get our macroeconomic outlook for the day. Take it away.
All right, Tim. So this morning at 3 a.m. my time, that would be 5 a.m. over there on the eastern coast for you guys. We had the European area's inflation rate come in year over year. Was projected to be at 7.1% or forecasted at 7.4%, previously at 8.5%, came in under at 6.9% on their inflation rate. Their employment rate also, again, was at 6.6. They expected that it was going to be up on the forecast and the consensus, actually came in neutral. And then their core inflation rate was 5.6 previously, was consensus and forecasted to be 5.7, came in as projected there on that end. So I just wanted to point that out, that things are looking pretty good over there in Europe in comparison to last month and last year. Moving on to the United States, to America. We got the personal spending here, came in at 0.2% this morning, was projected to be at 0.3 and 0.5. So, yep, people are slowing down on spending. That is a very big thing when you're looking at supply and demand. Core PCE price index, though, we were at 0.5% last month. For the month over the month, and then we were consensus of 0.4%, a forecast of 0.6%. We came in way under what they were projecting on the core PCE prices. So prices are coming down. The amount of buying up is coming down. So demand's coming down. Supply is looking good, and prices are starting to drop. So this is all bullish macroeconomic news that we have right there. The one thing that I do want to point out, though, is that our personal income was forecasted to be at 0.4%, and it only came in 0.3%. So a little bit down from what they were projecting on personal income. People aren't making as much money, but when you have the macroeconomic outlook of the rest of this year, looking at it, companies aren't trying to, throw a whole bunch of money at employees right now when they don't know what third quarter is going to look like. So that's what we're seeing there for our. Oh, lastly, I want to talk about the PCE price index. Consensus was 5.1. We were previously at 5.3. We're now at 5% on the PCE. So not bad. Not bad.
It does get a little worse when you flip over. Go to my screen here, checking in on our Fed interest rate hike prediction. Now we have shifted. Yesterday we were sitting closer to 50%. It's still 50%, but it flipped. We're now looking at 51% are predicting a 25 basis point rate hike in May. 48.8% still saying we're going to pause. Long time until we get that answer. We got over a month still. But again, we're going to keep you guys posted on that. So,
and we could be seeing that flip there also because the economy
Yeah.
doesn't look like it's being wrecked too hard by the rate hikes. So now it gives the Jerome Powell and the Fed a little bit more ammunition on their mission. So.
absolutely. Really quickly, let's take a very, very quick look at Bitcoin and one other coin. I'm not going to say the name until we get there. On the hourly chart this morning, we are a little bullish here. We're rallying up here after we had here on Chart Prime a predicted reversal up, as well as this is something we've been watching here. And I was talking about this with our Discord the other day. On the hourly chart, you're noticing we are in a trading channel. You guys can see my 2 yellow boxes. We are moving sideways. Guess what happens when we move sideways? These calls right here on this oscillator are lethal, both bearish and bullish. We kind of mock traded this yesterday in our bro time for our gold members in Patreon, and it was very, very good. Sure enough, we've had bullish calls here more recently with that predictive reversal to the upside. So keep an eye on that short term. Nothing necessarily explosive. We're going to need a big catalyst for either bulls or bears to come in. But I want to go out to the 4-hourly chart really quickly, take down my oscillator, and take a look at a couple different formations we have going on. So in the hourly chart down low, yes, we got a nice little trading channel kind of popping up, but that trading channel is not the only thing happening. We're also in this megaphone pattern we have been in ever since back in January. We're playing this out just perfect as well. You guys know that we've talked about this. We had Tom Crown on earlier this week. He talked about this as well. Megaphone patterns, bullish megaphone patterns that have the price action rally bullish into it traditionally break to the upside. They break through the rising level of resistance. There's a nice little zone here. And then they come back down. They retest that resistance, turn it into support, and then they take off. So it hasn't officially happened just yet, but it is something to keep your eye on. But I noticed something else kind of developed this morning that you also should be keeping your eye on for another formation. And that would be, I'm going to draw it for you right here. I'm going to connect candle bodies to candle bodies, and then I'm going to create a clone and have a second line here. We have a little bit of a rising triangle starting to form here on the 4-hourly chart as well. Let me connect those wicks. So keep your eyes on this as well. This is another bullish signal that if this were to play out to its full extent, we're looking at a price prediction somewhere in the region of, let's even say a little more conservative, go to the bottom of that resistance level. We're looking at a breakout for Bitcoin heading up towards 33,441. But if I were to go to the top level of that resistance, we're looking at about 33,899, give or take, getting closer towards that 34. So very, very interesting stuff happening on the Bitcoin chart. Even though we're kind of getting sideways and boring over the last couple of days, a breakout is coming, either to the downside or the upside. But I'm seeing a lot of confluence that I still believe I'm going to hold tight. I'll change my mind if we break down below and go start heading back towards 25.2. But I still believe we are holding pretty tight of 27,000 being a support level, and we're moving to the upside. Who knows? Are we only going to 30-something? Are we going to 42.50? We'll have to wait and see. The other coin that we got to talk about is Cardano, and this is something that we've discussed on this channel several times, that Cardano is one of those projects that can get very frustrating because in moments where everything else is rallying a lot, it doesn't really do much. And then other moments when it seems like nothing is really the spark for its rally, it just takes off. Well, this morning, I talked about this in our Discord as well. So any Investing Bros Discord member in the either silver or gold would know about this. I talked about this potential Cardano bull flag happening. Sure enough, we popped out. If this were to finish playing out, by the way, this would send Cardano back up towards 42 cents. So keep your eyes on Cardano. It's making some moves this morning, and it could be interesting what happens over the next couple of days. Of course, Cardano 88 gang, or it's not 88 gang, but 88. What
It's
are we? Is it gang? Okay,
yeah.
I get mixed up with the armies and the gangs and the clubs and
and we don't
the
promote
Pilates
gang violence, but we promote
no 88 gang
88
violence. Please do not participate in 88 gang violence if that exists. I don't know. Either way, that's your TA for today. We wanted to keep it brief. That was a little delayed. We're going to kind of throw it over. We're going to throw it over to Crypto Archie this morning because he's probably going to have a little more insight on some of these altcoins from a more fundamental view. But first of all, I want to introduce him. Crypto Archie, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Before we jump into the nitty gritty and we talk about altcoins, we talk about things, tell us about who you are and what got you invested in the crypto space and why are you so successful?
Yeah, so I guess I'm just a young guy who's always been interested in trying to make money. And I've experimented in multiple different fields. I've tried stocks. I've tried getting into more business type things where I'm trying to set up my own business and things like this. But I've always been interested in crypto. I've always been interested in the idea of decentralization as well, fundamentally, because I'm very interested in humans. I'm very interested in how the world works. And, when you dig deep into the world and you dig deep into technology, you realize that there's a lot of flaws in the current system. And that is one of the main things that dragged me towards crypto. But also the idea of making these crazy gains, a 50x, a 100x, these things are only made possible in crypto. I mean, if you invest in the S&P 500 or you invest in any other sector, even commodities or housing or anything, I mean, how long does it take to get tenfold your investment? It's quite often a very long time. Whereas, you guys will know yourselves, if you invest even in some of these high caps, right? Even some of these like Cardano, maybe even Matic, they could do a 5 to 10x in the next bull run easily. So it's also these gains that really drag me towards crypto. The fact that you can make such high gains in such a short period of time, that was one of the big things. But also the whole idea of decentralization in itself and taking power back to the people was also one thing that always caught my eye.
Yeah, it's super, super cool. And I can't wait to get into some of what you're looking at. What are some of these smaller cap altcoins? I know T-Shoom's going to have a lot of questions for you today. Army Piper's going to have a lot of questions for today. But I'm going to start it off with, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, and this was what T-Shoom was teasing while I was getting my poll up. Thumbnail. So you recently moved to Dubai. Tell me a little more. I want to hear about the city of Dubai. And T-Shoom, stop. There's an inside joke there that we're not going to get into in the show, and I thought I was going to be able to make it through the question. I am curious, though. Tell me about Dubai. What caused you to move to Dubai, and how has life been since you arrived there?
Dubai is amazing. A lot of the things that people say about it, I wouldn't say are true, but then some things that people say are true. There's a lot of misconceptions, but also there's a lot of things that people say, and then you go there, and it is just as good as what people say. So I love the weather. That was one of the main things that brought me to Dubai was the weather. I mean, I'm from the UK. The northern parts of the UK are very, very cold right now. I mean, if I was to go back, it would be horrific. The difference in temperature. I've gotten used to this temperature now. But that was obviously one reason is the weather. But it's not just one reason, man. There's a plethora of different reasons that all go into it. The tax system, I think, is obviously more favorable as well to crypto. The regulations around crypto are much more favorable. I mean, I've had banks closed down and frozen just off investing into crypto in the UK. A lot of banks are actually against it. A lot of them ban it, don't even allow you to invest in it. So I just wanted a place where I can go, and I know that it's long-term going to be a good place in my industry that I work in. And I'm not going to be attacked by the banks. I'm not going to be, attacked by anyone really in this sector. And also the safety. It's an extremely safe place. In the UK, if you walk into some of the cities, and you're wearing expensive clothing, or you're somehow perceived as being wealthy, it's not going to look good for you. Whereas in Dubai, everyone's in that situation, so there's no real danger of that.
I mean, that's obviously the pros are there. If you had one con, or maybe two cons or three cons, what would you say is a con about Dubai, or something that you just weren't prepared for and you're still adjusting to?
Well, it's weird. I mean, it's very busy compared to where I'm from. It's very busy, very fast-paced life. I don't know about the competitive side. I mean, I am a competitive person, but I'm not too big in terms of flexing the watch or flexing the t-shirt. I mean, that's not really for me. I prefer spending my money on experiences, holidays, a nice house, things like this. But I mean, I would say by far the pros outweigh the cons. I mean, there are obviously cons. It's a bit artificial, people say. There's no real culture, some people say as well, because it's relatively new as a place. But I would argue Dubai is actually creating its own culture. A lot of young expats, a lot of people who have entrepreneurial mindsets, they're all coming together in Dubai, and it's building a culture in itself. I mean, I wouldn't even argue the UK has much culture anymore. It's completely, I would say, disintegrating from what it once was maybe 20 years ago. So I understand some of the criticisms from some people, but I would say overall, it's certainly better than where I lived in the UK.
Crypto Set Guy asked about what's the food culture like compared to the UK there?
I mean, the food in Dubai is very Western. You obviously can get Middle Eastern food there, but all the stuff that you guys are used to in the US, you'll find in Dubai. Wendy's, McDonald's. In the UK, we have Nando's. That's in Dubai as well. So all of these food chains you can find easily in Dubai. There's no real cultural barrier. I mean, I would say it's very westernized Dubai. I mean, if you go to other cities in the UAE, it's far more conservative, far more Islamic, far more Eastern, if that's even a thing. But Dubai is quite Western. There's a lot of Europeans there. There's a lot of, not that many Americans, because obviously you guys can't change your residency without renouncing your citizenship. So it's a lot more difficult for an American to move to Dubai because, the laws of America is you're always a US resident unless you revoke your citizenship, whereas it's much easier for someone from the UK to move there. But yeah, the food is very similar to the West, but obviously they have their own food, they have their own culture as well. But, it's really a melting pot of loads of different cultures, and that's something that I like a lot.
Interesting. Well, T-Shim, do you have any questions about Dubai before we jump into coins?
No, I think we've spent a lot of good time on culture in Dubai, and this is at the end of the day, it's a crypto channel, so maybe we want to try to keep the content more crypto.
Yeah, so. I'm really trying to keep myself together here. All right, let's go transition here. We'll have to hear more later. I definitely want to keep up to date with Archie's experience over in Dubai. But Archie, the way you were even introduced to me, you are just absolutely killing it when it comes to small cap altcoin recognition. I know we had to talk a little bit before the show, but I want you to tell our audience a little bit more about your experience finding small cap altcoins. And I don't know what secrets you want to give away, what ones you want to keep tucked away so people come follow you and they can learn more from you. But how do you go about your process? How do you identify these small cap altcoins that allow you to get these 30x, 50x, 100x, sometimes even more x that nobody else knows about? What is your process for that?
So I have a very strict process, and there's a load of different categories and kind of methods that come into my process. I like to address the basics before we start getting into white papers and start going really complex. I like to just address the very basics. What makes a project unique, and what are the tokenomics? And quite often, I would say 95% of projects fail in both of these categories or fail in one of these categories. Many projects are just copies of others, and quite often subpar copies. They're not even as good as the project they're trying to copy. So I'll use Ethereum as an example. There's countless layer ones that are aiming to be the next Ethereum. Many of them are worse than Ethereum. Many of them are maybe just as good, but they're never going to overtake it, right? Because Ethereum's always going to be the big dog. And I don't really see any brand new layer one, dethroning Ethereum. But we can use this in loads of other categories as well. People always try and search for the next big coin. Instead of just focusing on what's good, what makes a project unique, they try and find carbon copies of other projects. And that's something that a lot of cryptos do. That's one thing that I look for is uniqueness. What makes a project unique? What is the unique selling point? And if it isn't unique, it doesn't deserve any investment. Another thing is tokenomics. And this is something that people always brush over. People think it's too nerdy. People think it's not even needed. When I can assure everyone that if you're a long-term investor, there's arguably nothing more important than tokenomics. And you see some of these projects, especially in the lower end of crypto, 1% circulating supply, 2% circulating supply, infinite supply with only 2% out. I mean, this is literally a recipe for disaster. Everyone's going to get burned. And I see some other examples as well where people don't even check the token holders. I mean, a lot of people don't know you can just go on Etherscan or BSC scan and literally check how much does the top wallet hold. Does one wallet hold 30% of the entire supply? Does one wallet own 60%? I mean, I've seen some disasters in my life, and it's so simple to do, yet people don't do it. So that's something that I look into is, how much do people hold of this? Is there one wallet holding a majority? or is it quite fairly distributed? Tokenomics, I look at 30 to 50% circulating supply or higher, generally as a rule of thumb. Can deviate here and there, but generally you like to stick to somewhat of a standard. It's okay to deviate, but generally you want some sort of strict standard, and that's generally what I do. But there's much more. I mean, I do go into white papers, but there's much more to it than just that. But you want to find uniqueness, and you want to find a project that's a good, sustainable, long-term hold where it's not going to be devalued or debased, and you're not going to be diluted on. That's something that I look for.
Could you give us a good example of a coin that you identified that other people seem to get hype about, but you were like, no, this is just a copy of another coin? I know you use the example of some coins like to go and copy Ethereum, but could you give us an example of a coin you identified and you're like, hey, this is just a copy. There's going to be a hype. There's going to be a lot of hype here. They're going to have a great marketing scheme, but this is just a terrible project.
Yeah, well, I'll give multiple examples. Well, quite recently, there's this whole AI trend, right? And you see SingularityNet and Fetch AI. They've been around for quite a long time. Now, all of a sudden, you see AI this, AI that. AI just slapped on the name of everything, right?
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where are these just riding the trend? Are these just trying to get as much money, and then the founder's just going to dump on everyone? And this is a problem in crypto, is people don't do research. They just see the name AI and they think, AI is hot right now. I'm just going to go and put $100 in, and then they lose it all. Happened time and time again. So I saw that with AI. I also saw it in the metaverse. Many projects tried to copy Sandbox. For example, there's one called The Parallel, and that looks like a very similar version of Sandbox, just with very bad tokenomics. And it begs the question, are these rug pulls? Are these just trying to play a trend and get as much investment as possible and then sell on everyone? And I know a lot of my audience are into those degen picks, but I try to give that level head. You've got to look into these fundamental things and you can't brush over them. Even in high caps, I see a lot of red flags, arguably. And for example, Arbitron, right? Arbitron is a good project. Obviously, we need Ethereum to be scalable. Matic is obviously doing that as well. But I was reading into it, and the token distribution was pretty bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure the team had 30%, something around that. So that gives the team a lot of power to dump on people. And I like it to be much more fair. I don't like too much power being in the hands of one group of people. And that's ultimately why I like crypto. I don't want power being in the hands of one or two guys. I want it distributed. Now, I don't think it's possible for it to be evenly distributed, but at least we're not going to have a situation where one guy has 30%. I don't think that's what crypto is all about.
Wow, that's interesting. So Arbitron, because that's one that I know our community was really excited about, and it was one I know a couple of people in our community were able to wait the storm out. They got some nice, good prices. But what is your future outlook for Arbitron now that you say that? It's one that it sounds like you're saying you're not really buying it just yet, but what would you say to anyone in our community that has purchased Arbitron? Is this a project they should look for a take profit and get out soon? Or do you think that there is still a large runway for it to go up into the right?
It's a good question. I think it's going to do well long term. Okay. I wouldn't touch it right now. I think it's too volatile, very hard to value it. It's kind of like touching a stock when it just launches, right? When Coinbase just came out, it was just a disaster. So I would just give it time. I would just see what the market really decides the valuation truly is. If you look at what it would have been valued at the start, it dumped a lot, right? The fully diluted valuation would have had it higher than Cardano, I'm pretty sure, or around that range. So I don't think it's going to be that big. I think Matic will be big. It has a good ecosystem, so it will perform. But I'm not opposed to Arbitrum. I just raised it as a concern, right? Generally, people don't look into these things. People don't research into the token holders. I haven't looked into Arbitrum too much, but I know someone was telling me about the token holders, and it wasn't ideal. I more look into low caps. I don't really go into launches, really, especially when it's a large cap. But I know they can be profitable. But I saw on numerous occasions people investing into low caps, and one or two wallets hold 50% of the supply, and it's not good. People don't check it, or people don't know how to check it, I think, as well.
Wow. This is really good stuff. By the way, I'm pausing because we're going to get back into this. Thank you to everyone who's watching right now. We got over 140 people watching, but only 58 likes. So we definitely need to get more likes up here because Crypto Archie is dropping fire this morning.
Yes.
I'm already learning so much, and I gotta incorporate this into what I do. I want to keep going with this, Archie, and we're gonna stay on the smaller cap. I'm gonna transition a little bit later into Bitcoin and Ethereum and what your thoughts are there. And then Piper and T-Shroom, let me know if you guys have questions along the way. I have about 1,000,004 in my brain at the moment. I want to ask Crypto Archie, what are some small cap altcoins you're keeping your eyes on right now? Because I know you've made some great calls here in the past, but what are maybe some ones right now? And this is really hard, so this is not financial advice. We just want to find out what Crypto Archie is looking at. What you, the rest of you guys watching this, do with your money is completely up to you. I just want to know what he does. So, Archie,
nice.
what are some projects you're really loving right now?
Yeah, there's a lot. I'll try and nail it down to a few. So right now, I like gaming cryptos. I like looking at some low cap gaming cryptos. I think there's a fair few in the gaming sector. Now, I want to know how degen do you guys want me to get here? Because I can get into very small caps, or I can get into kind of mid cap ranges, which I would consider like Gala. What type of category are you guys wanting? Because I know there's some degens in the chat, but then there's some people who want more balanced cryptos, right?
I think probably start as low as you possibly can, as degen as possible,
Yeah.
and just kind of as you're moving up, just kind of continue to communicate that.
Let's go
Yeah.
ocean floor level of depth here.
Yeah.
Into degen.
I mean, you know, the audience knows that that's where we're going, and never invest more than you can afford to lose, guys.
Yep.
Crypto Set Guy said extra degen. We want you to
Extra.
go extra degen.
Yeah, full
Okay,
degen,
perfect.
crispy degen.
So one that I was looking at recently, and I've been in this one for not too long now, but I am in some good gains, is Revolve Games. Now, actually, I was brought aware of this by Alex over at Chart Prime, very intelligent man. And this is a great project, and I've looked into it in some good depth, and I think it has a lot of long-term potential. This is a degen play, right? It's only got one game out right now, so it's not your Gala, but I like the idea, and I'm actually going to be talking to the CEO relatively soon, doing like an AMA with him. And
cool.
I like the idea of what they're doing. Basically, they're going to be developing like card games, things like this. You can actually stake NFTs. You can generate your own NFT and stake it. And you can get up to like 70% APY, even higher. I do that myself. And it's 1.1 million in market cap. So extremely small. I mean,
Very small.
We've seen crap gaming coins go and do a 100x. We've seen okay gaming coins go and do a 1000x. So if this is just somewhat okay, this is my reasoning. I mean, if it ticks a few boxes, surely it's going to go to like 50 million market cap, right? When the bull run hits. And that would be around a 50x from right now. I talked about tokenomics. This is very important. 36 out of 95. I think it's actually a bit higher. It's around 45 out of 95. So that is a green check for me. I generally like it to be in this region. I'll show you an example of a project in which I would avoid based on tokenomics, because some of you guys in the chat may not fully understand what I'm talking about. But here's one example. So you can see here the circulating supply, total supply, and max supply. Circulating supply is how much is out right now, how much is owned. And max supply is the total amount that could ever come out, right? So what I don't like about this is it's absolutely awful. I mean, 71 million out of 1.5 billion. That is...
It's not even close.
That is not... It's not good, no. Yeah. And you could see this, how it could play out, right? They dump a load of tokens, or even gradually. I mean, it's probably going to take years for this to actually even out. So I don't like it personally. I like the idea that this is the whole reason why we don't like the dollar, right? Is they can just print more money. We don't want this with crypto. This is one of the things that we want to avoid with crypto. So this is a concern for me. Even if a project looks good, the tokenomics can make me avoid it generally. But that's one example. I can go into some more for you guys.
Well, I want
For
to pause right. I want to pause right there on
Yeah,
gaming, because this is something that I know last year there was a lot of hype about gaming, games on blockchain technology, and I know where the space was. Blockchain just wasn't really ready to compete with normal gaming. What is your outlook on gaming in general? Because I just heard you talk about you like a couple gaming coins. Do you think that 2023 we see the mass emergence of games on blockchain? Do you think we wait until 2024? What are your thoughts about the fundamentals of gaming on blockchain technology?
I think they're very good. I think it's going to take time for it to truly be a revolution. It's not going to happen overnight. I like multiple things about the idea of gaming and blockchain technology combining. One example is the digital ownership. This is an issue which many games have had issues with. For example, in Fortnite, for example, right? You buy a skin, what can you do with it? I mean, let's say you don't want to play the game in a year. Well, you can't really do much of it, right? You can't sell it on a marketplace. If it becomes rare, you can't cash it in for more money. I mean, these are basic things that games should implement. And that's one thing I like is it also benefits the games as well, because it allows more of an economy around the game. I mean, if you look at the projections of the gaming industry in the next 10 years, it's going to get a lot bigger than what it is right now. And one of the reasons for that is NFTs, marketplaces, digital ownership, all of these things. Now, I would be careful with the whole idea of the metaverse. That's one thing I will say. I think it is partly a scam. The whole idea that this is going to happen in 1 or 2 years. I think it's very, very far fetched. I do think there will be a metaverse and Mark Zuckerberg will be behind it. But the idea that, in 2 years' time, we're all going to have goggles on playing crypto games, I don't really think is too realistic. I think it's going to take time. The best gaming projects that I would look at are kind of simple, playable games. Ones that you can play on a phone, ones that you can play on a PC, ones that you can play on a browser, not the next kind of metaverse. I don't think this is feasible anytime soon. But I'll show you, I can show you one that I'm talking about in terms of playable and simple, and the one that would perfectly match my criteria. I can show you one right now if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this is one that not many people know. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is one that not many people know at all. And it's basically this gaming hub. Okay, and you can play so many different games here. You've got things like archery, a shooter game. There's an 8-ball pool game, loads of different games, kind of like a Candy Crush here, battle tank game. And this is all on a browser. They're going to be moving it over to mobile as well. So you can play it on iOS, you can play it on Android in the future as well.
Cool.
And it's literally just, you search it on the browser, you connect your wallet, and you can start competing. And the great thing is you can start earning money by playing people. So think about 8-ball pool, for example, if you guys know this game. A lot of people were playing it. And it was a very competitive game. You play against your friend, you play against someone online. But it had this in-game token which was meaningless. It doesn't have any actual utility. You can't cash it in for dollars. You can't cash it in for Bitcoin. It's just a token that you buy and lose your money with. You can never, ever use it. Whereas what Nakamoto are doing is you can play 8-ball pool, use their token, and earn real money. So let's say you and your friend want to play 8-ball pool. You both have $10. You want to put it on. The winner gets 20. Now, arguably, this is gambling, and I'm not a huge proponent for gambling. I don't think it's necessarily a net positive, but there's definitely demand for it. And a lot of us are in here to make money. We're in crypto to make money. Now, I've actually had debates with people about the ethics of investing in things like play to earn and things like this, but that's a whole separate debate here. But generally what I'm talking about here is a place where money is going to pour into. And unfortunately, I see the gaming sector going into a place where there's going to be a lot of gambling, a lot of dopamine, a lot of addiction, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the case. Now we can make money off it, or we can just ignore it. And I don't know which one to do, really. I'm kind of caught in between. But generally, I think there's going to be these games where they're very easy to play, and money is going to be a factor. Unfortunately, money rules the world, and the gaming industry is going to be taken over by money. And that's just the way I see it going personally.
I want to pause right there, and then I think it's really good that you're that's where your mind goes. That's something that I get caught up in things too, that you look at opportunities and projects and you're like, man, there's a lot of money to be made here. The problem is a lot of this money is to be made at the expense of other people. So it's one of those things, like it's a gray area. I mean, there's gray stuff there that it's like everyone's going to navigate themselves. But even just the hesitation to say, man, let me take a step and think about what I'm putting my money into. Yeah. The majority of people in crypto do not think that way. And we need more people like you, Archie, thinking that way about, hey, what does this do for mankind in general as well?
What I'll say, a quick note on that, is if you've ever been to a large-scale casino in the middle of a weekday, then you've seen the depressing state of humanity already. It's not like there aren't thousands, if not millions of people out gambling away their savings once they're retired. I witnessed this in Windsor, Canada. I went to a Caesar's Palace just on a weekday, just because we had nothing else to do. We were waiting for a train, and Caesar's Palace, let's go check it out. And there were probably thousands of people like in their 60s just gambling away, their retirement. Maybe some of them were making money, but they all look like drones just staring at. So I see getting into gaming and kind of these ethical questions that you're raising, Crypto Archie, that are great. I kind of see it as a wealth transfer. It's like they're already doing this. There's already giant casino institutions that are doing this and just extracting wealth from people who can't find things to do in their retirement. And so they just gamble it all away. Hopefully not all of it, but so it's just a wealth transfer. It's and you have to ask the question. It's like, should Caesar's Palace get all of this money, or should it be distributed into the crypto world? And that may make the question a little easier for you to confirm to the positive. Again, doesn't make it perfect. Doesn't mean that you're the next Mother Teresa making that kind of an investment, but it's another way to look at it as well.
Interesting.
We got a couple of questions from the audience, and so they don't really get many opportunities to ask questions to somebody like Archie here. So I want to address some of these. So CD Unicorn asked, "What's your thoughts on Project Quantum? If you know anything about it, or if you can take a quick look at it and let us know what you think on that." And then there's one more that someone asked for here. So
the Antique
I can
Road
take
Show.
a look at it. I haven't really looked into this one, but I'll have a look right now at what I'm seeing. And here we go. I was just double checking that my screen was on. There we go. So instantly what I'm seeing here is that this is a degen play. I mean, look at the total supply here. It's in my opinion, preposterous, extremely high. I tend not to like projects where they're that high. There's no market cap listed or circulating supply. I need to see this before I would ever invest into a project, okay? Like, these are fundamentals. Sometimes if you go and dig deeper, maybe check CoinMarketCap, maybe check DEX tools, you can get more of a true representation of what it is. One thing I don't like to do is ask the team, because do you guys not think that a team could lie to you? I mean, you go in the Telegram and you say, what is the circulating supply? And they go, oh, it's 90%. Oh, thank you, I'll invest. It's not that simple. Check for yourself. Don't just trust a random guy of a team, right? Because they may not always have your best interests at heart.
Yeah. Okay. And then
go on.
Go ahead, Piper.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get through these questions for the guest. I know we got other stuff to do. Quant.
No, go for it.
Someone asked about Quant. What's your thoughts on Quant, Archie?
Yeah, that's a pretty.
That's a better crypto. Yeah, I like Quant a lot. Quant is one of my favorite projects. I really like the idea of interoperability, and I think it is gonna happen. We need all these different blockchains to all interact with each other, and we need them all to kind of work together, because I think layer zeros and interoperable projects are going to be a big trend in this next bull run. I think Polkadot's going to be big. I think Quant's going to be big. Another thing I like about Quant is the tokenomics. You can see here, it's very good, low dilution, very scarce. And another thing is it's also ISO 222 compliant. So the regulators like it, the banks like it. I think this is certainly going to be a big crypto to watch in the next bull run.
Very interesting.
Very cool. I have a simple question. Just a super quick one. Were there more, Piper? Were there more from the audience?
Jeep KPT asked about EverEarn. It's a small cap called EverEarn. So he can look that up while you ask your question.
Yeah, go ahead and look it up. I mean, mine's going to be super simple. Like, what exchanges do you use to buy these lower cap coins? Because certainly, Coinbase is moving in the direction of not listing these types. So where do you like to buy on what exchange?
Yeah, so I buy on decentralized exchanges. Generally, I will buy on PancakeSwap if it's BNB, or
Nice.
Uniswap if it's Ethereum, and then I'll store it on a ledger. That's certainly the smartest thing to do, in my opinion. Not your keys, not your crypto. It's a saying, but it has a lot of validity to it. And I don't know how many times we need to see other centralized exchanges go bust before people change their habits. But look, it's okay to trade on a centralized exchange, if you're moving money a lot. But if you're holding 1, 2, 3 years, I think it's a bad idea holding it in a Coinbase, in a crypto.com, in any of them personally. I think you need to have your own keys and you need to own your own crypto. And so long as Coinbase own it or any exchange own it, right, you don't truly know that you're going to have that money when you want to withdraw it. And that's what we saw with FTX.
Yeah. Cool. Speaking of PancakeSwap,
do we get to ever earn?
Oh yeah, go for it. Sorry. Of course, I'm going to get into cake.
Yeah, no problem. I'll look at this one. Cake. So this is another one with a very high supply and no market cap or circulating supply listed. Only $7 of trading volume. So I don't know. I don't know how big this one is or if that's fake, but I don't really understand what this one is. I mean, I'll have to take more of a deep dive into it, but straight off the bat, I'll say there's a few red flags, just to say the least. I mean, $7, 24-hour trading volume. I don't really know about this one.
Yeah, well, it's a privilege to know about it. That's the thing, is a lot of people don't know about it yet. So
yeah,
we have a maybe it's the next Bitcoin.
I just want to let the viewers know. So I've been working with Archie for a while over on Crypto Gem Hunters, and we've done some stuff in the Piper's Den together. So just so you guys know, he's one of the most brilliant minds that I've met yet in finding small caps. And you guys would not believe projects that he got into that were at like $5 million market cap that went up over 600 million. Archie, was that AGIX Singularity?
Yeah, I was getting into AGIX. Around 40 million, and it did around a 15x or something like this in the space of a month or two. Yeah.
So him being on here is an absolute honor, and I would love to bring him on to TA Talk, Tim, where our premium members from Chart Prime and our Patreon members from Investing Bros can get in there and just ask him to look at some tokenomics, because I think they're going to learn something from him, and I think he's a brilliant mind to learn from. So that's all I got.
Yeah. I was gonna say we have a super chat here I'm gonna read in a second, but this interviews like this is one of the reasons why on Monday we're switching to a 90-minute show from just a 60-minute show, because we only have like 12 minutes left and then it's 10 o'clock and it's time to close the show. So first of all, let us know, smash that like button if you're excited for a 90-minute show, but also I want you guys to give me some feedback in chat. Drop a 1 in chat if you would love for Crypto Archie to become a more regular guest here on Investing Bros, to come get this insight, answer more questions. Like Piper just said, we're going to do a lot with him. We're going to have him as guests, crypto talks. I want you guys to have exposure. There was a question asked right here before I read the super chat. This one I got to ask you, Crypto Archie, because I'm not 100% certain. Crypto United saying, loving the stream. Does Archie have any kind of Patreon to find these gems early?
I sure do.
He does.
Yeah, I sure do. And in this group, I go much more in detail. If people want one-to-one help, if they want, to go through it on a more consultation level, I'm happy to do that. But even you can just pay like $10 and you can see my portfolio and when it updates, and you can get early access to all my videos.
Get $10 out.
Yeah, maybe I can
get in this.
Find a couple extra bucks.
He might have a couple extra.
But no, that's one of the most compelling things I've heard about in a long time. I really like the way that you analyze the tokenomics. It's been there all along. To be honest, it's not like you're doing anything crazy revolutionary, but it's clear that you've been disciplined and you have experience doing this. So that's what I really admire about it, and I think that's where a lot of
And one thing I would add to that is a great point is, I'm not like in this to make quick bucks as well, right? I'm in this for the long run, and I see a lot of these YouTubers, sadly in the same sector as me. Every single video they make is a sponsored video, And I can confirm, truthfully, I have never taken a single sponsorship on my channel from any coin. No video has been a paid promotion. And this is
You've turned
extremely
them
rare.
down.
Yeah, you guys will know this is extremely rare especially in low cap gems. I mean, half of some of these YouTubers' videos are just paid cryptos. They're literally paid to shill a coin. My morals won't allow me to do that. So that's one thing that people can guarantee as well in my videos.
Absolutely.
I'm adding to the description right now that Patreon, by the way.
Yeah.
So people can get access to that.
So back to PancakeSwap. So you that's where you like to buy. That's actually one of the very first ecosystems I joined was the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. I got into PancakeSwap very early. Well, not very early, I should say. I bought at the top. I bought a lot of cake at the top, but I've been staking ever since. And their APY, it's come down quite a bit. But Cake as a token, what are your thoughts on Cake? And then also, is Binance, and then you could perhaps kind of transition into like Binance and the recent CFTC lawsuit. Do you think that the Binance ecosystem is really the one that could make a run for Ethereum? So I put a lot in there in that question. You can kind of go read like.
Yeah, some great valid points there. I think PancakeSwap will do well. I really believe in DEXs. I think they're very important for crypto. And I think generally, the more we see these FTX situations, the more we'll see decentralized exchanges flourish. The more we'll see more money go into PancakeSwap. The more we'll see more money go into Uniswap. And I think people are waking up, to be honest. I think, influencers are doing a good job now promoting, not your keys, not your crypto. So I think people are helping with the education of this. But generally, I do think PancakeSwap will do well. I think BNB will do well as well. Whether it will dethrone Ethereum, I'm not too sure. I actually like looking towards some of the other layer ones and layer zeros, such as Polkadot, such as Algorand. I like both of them. And the fact that they're compliant to regulations, the fact that they're good for the environment. I think the guy behind Algorand is a genius. So I think looking at some of the newer cryptos will certainly be something that will certainly wake up a lot of people because, Solana, Cardano, I don't necessarily think they're going to be as big in the next bull run, because they did well in the last bull run. I think there's some new players. I think Polkadot, I think Algorand, and a few more could make it in the top 15. I really do. So I would look at some other layer ones, and I'd also look at some layer zeros, such as Polkadot. So, but nevertheless, I do think BNB will do well in the long run.
Interesting.
You just mentioned right there, and we got a question in chat, and it was my question too. Meek Vision said, "What is your thoughts about ADA?" You kind of mentioned it there, and I know this is really good stuff because the way you're viewing coins and you're breaking down the supply and you're breaking down what the current flow is. You're looking at what they offer and how similar they are to other coins. Where does with ADA, first of all, what you think about it, but second of all, where does community come into it? Because that's another big side of Cardano, and it's going to be a big side for crypto in general. When you can mount a massive community support, that's obviously a big plus. Do you see that community kind of dwindling in this next bull market, or do you think that's what keeps Cardano relevant? You kind of answered it, but maybe go into more detail about your outlook for Cardano.
Yeah, I think community is something that can be exaggerated a little bit. I think fundamentals outweigh community. At the end of the day, a lot of these so-called communities are actually all against each other, such as Shiba Inu, such as a lot of these other meme coins. Everyone's community, so long as they're all making money, and they'll do anything to turn on each other to make more money. And you see the founders will sell on each other. People will promote it, say hold forever, never ever selling, and then they'll sell. And I don't really buy the idea of community too much. I think no one's really in it for everyone else. I think most people are in it for themselves. And as much as we can like the idea of community, I don't think it's that apparent in crypto. It is apparent with meme coins. It is apparent in gaming. But whether or not everyone actually wants to help each other is a different question. But with regards to Cardano, I like it, right? I'm not Cardano. I'm not opposed to Solana. I just think there's newer tech in the space. And I think we could see some of this newer tech start to flourish, such as Algorand, such as Quant, such as HBAR. ADA will probably do maybe a 10x, but I just don't see it getting in that top 5, that top 10 in 2 or 3 years to come. Personally, I really like the fact that Singularity Net's built on it. So look, it's a good project, good ecosystem, but whether or not it's going to be as big as some of these other players in terms of gains, I don't know, right? Because you look at some of these other ones, such as HBAR, such as Algorand, they're like maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying roughly 50x to what Cardano got in the last bull run. Whereas Cardano is maybe only going to do a 10x, these could do a 30x. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be overtaking Cardano, even though I think they could. It just means they're going to outperform them in terms of gains.
Now, what about? And I'm going to camp out. This is really good. I'm really glad that we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
We are big Cardano fans as well. You know, that's one of our more favorite projects out there. But I want to even hear about the approach, because one of the attacks that happened last year during 2022, there was actually a lot of beef between Solana and Cardano, and one of the accusations that Solana's at the time, I don't know if he's still the leader of it or the CEO or whatever the position is called, he poked fun at Charles Hoskinson and the whole team at Cardano, saying, you guys just move too slow, you're too worried about security, you're just not doing things fast. What are your thoughts about that? So does there not value in that, in the fact of like Cardano might be the most cautious and most secure project out there because they're taking baby steps. They're not just jumping out in the front like Solana did, and then Solana has crashes. I'm not even compare the Solana connection to FTX because that was unfortunate for their team, but they do have other fundamental problems. What are your thoughts about Cardano and the fact that they do approach the high level of security? Do you think that's something that is a priority that crypto should have, or you think that's what's going to hold Cardano back?
I think it's very important to focus on security. And I think you're right in terms of moving too quick isn't a good thing. Crypto is already very fast paced. And if you move too quick, you can make mistakes. We saw that with Luna. We saw that with FTX and many other cryptos. Solana is just, in my opinion, not a good project, really. I don't think long term it's going to perform too well. There's outages far too often. I would place Cardano above Solana in terms of the pecking order of layer ones and blockchains. But at the same time, speed is important too. And I would say Cardano have a good balance. They're not too fast, they're not too slow. But crypto is a very quickly evolving world. And if you lag behind, it can bite you, right? Look at the top 10 from the 2017 bull run. It's very different to what it is right now. Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, I mean, are they going to be in the top 5 in the next bull run? I don't think so. So as much as Cardano is a good project and stuff, I do hold it. I'm just not going to be betting on it to do maybe a 20x or a 30x or a 50x. Maybe it's only going to do a 10x, maybe a bit better than Ethereum. I think it'll perform.
You know, we have about 2 minutes left here. Let's do you put like prices on price predictions? Like if you, I mean, this now, you're not financial advice, you're just guesstimating here. What would you say? I'm going to give you the coin. I'm going to say the coin. What do you think it's going to get to in the next bull market? So let's start off with Bitcoin. Where do you think Bitcoin can get to in the next bull market?
Bitcoin, I think, look, we don't know is the answer, but I'll give you one answer. I'll say 175K. 175K is the height, but I'll probably start selling around 120K or around that. To be honest,
that is spot on. Like we've talked about on the show, my range is lower end about 115. My upper end is 180. So we are sitting pretty darn stinking close to each other. All right. So what about Ethereum? Where you see Ethereum going?
I think Ethereum anywhere between 12K to 15K. I think. Or
Let's go. Let's go, Archie.
Yeah,
he likes that.
I know Army Piper's an Ethereum maximalist, so I think he's very happy with that answer.
Okay, how about let's keep moving on here. XRP.
I don't know. XRP is a weird one. I mean, I don't even want to make a prediction with XRP because it's so difficult to even predict with the lawsuit.
Just do it. Do it, Archie.
Throw it out.
I don't
it'll
even
feel
think
good. It'll come off your chest and it'll feel good.
I think. Look, I'll say this. I think the lawsuit will do XRP more good. I think it will win. I think Ripple will win the case.
Yeah.
But if they don't win, it's going to be a disaster, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean they'll die out, but I think it could. Let's just say that. But price prediction wise, I think XRP won't be huge, but it will be big. Maybe it'll do similar to Cardano, maybe like a 10 to 20x, I think. But there are competitors in the same space.
Yeah.
So you're thinking $5 to $10
potentially. But look, it could go back to where it was in 2017. It was huge before the whole lawsuit. But this goes back into the question: do we think crypto evolves? Do we think that just because a project was that big in 2017, it will be in 2024 or 2025? I don't know. It's incredibly difficult for me to predict XRP's future.
It's a good question. All right, we're going to rapid fire on one because it's technically 10 o'clock, but I'm just going to run a couple more coins. Cardano. This is what I was getting to. So your prediction on Cardano?
Cardano probably do maybe a 2 or 3x from all-time high. Was it around $3 something?
Yeah. So you're saying 69?
Yeah, probably upper end $10, maybe $5 to $10. I think
That's a good one.
Is
That's
realistic.
A good. Let's see. Matic.
Matic, I think, can do a lot. I think Matic. What's Matic currently sitting at?
$1.10.
Yeah, so I think it could go to $20 potentially.
It's right there scrolling past Tim's head right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think. We'll do one more.
I think it can. I think it'll be huge.
What about PancakeSwap?
PancakeSwap. There we go.
PancakeSwap's currently at $3.70.
$3.70 currently.
It got up as high as it got up as high as $40 and wicked up to 48 in the back in May 2021.
It did get big. I think it could maybe do 2x of that. Maybe not. I think, look, BNB will do well, but I think there are going to be other players. I think you've got the likes of Algorand, you've got the likes of Avalanche, you've got Polkadot. I think we could see other cryptos do well. And if you're talking about DEXs, I'd advise, not financially advise, and I'm not telling you guys to invest, but I would say I would recommend checking out, doing some research on Trader Joe, okay? Because that's a DEX for Avalanche. It's also a DEX for Arbitron. So I think it will perform very well, and it has been performing well. I think it's up around 5x from my video that I made on it earlier or something like that. So it's doing very well.
Interesting.
Very good stuff. Well, we got to wrap up today's show because it is the last planned 60-minute show. Starting on Monday, everybody, Investing Bros will be running from 9 to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead on your way out, smash the like button if you're excited about what this show is doing. And also, if you're excited about the fact that I will make sure that Crypto Archie comes back on this show on a regular basis, even if I have to go over to Dubai and renounce my American citizenship. He's going to be appearing on this channel more often. Let me know in chat.
I want to give a shout out to Crypto Seth. He's in our chat right now. That's Archie's road dog over there for doing these gym hunts, and we need to get him on the show too. So
yeah, we're gonna get Seth on the show too. This has been a phenomenal show.
Lots of fun.
When you're the content creator and you're excited about the interview and like you're just like sitting here learning, that's how you know it was a good show.
That's great.
So even if you guys don't like the show, I like the show, so we're gonna do it more often. But love all of you guys. Make sure in the description you guys can go follow him on Twitter. You can sign up for that Patreon we talked about a little earlier. I'm probably going to go do that right after this stream because that sounds like a great opportunity. Make sure you guys support the Investing Bros as well, though. You can go and check those other links as well. If you guys have not signed up for Chart Prime, we'll talk way more about that, especially next week with that extra 30 minutes. You can get 45% off using our link down there. Make sure you go and do that today. With that said, though, it is Friday, so this is the last show of the week. Thank you to Archie for being here. Thank you for my old team continuing to hold up. And thank you to all of you guys. Thank you for investing in the Investing Bros. We are seeking to be the most generous crypto YouTube channel of all of them. So if that's something you love, make sure you're a part of our amazing community. With that said, you guys have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on Monday.